With the second pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Chase Young, defensive end, Ohio State.
But you know, as they say, hail to the Redskins. Let's roll, man. Let's go.
Got another super chat here from my man, Rob U. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Rob U. Greatly appreciate you for doubling up. My man, Rob U writes, Lou, I know Chase Young is the grand prize, but I can see Montez Sweat going off this year. Thoughts on how good he can be? You know what was funny? I was watching a little bit of Montez Sweat on tape because I was watching a player from another team's draft this year, and I had to go back to 2018 to watch some tape. As a matter of fact, the player was Willie Gay Jr. Out of Mississippi State. And you know what's crazy is this past year in college football, and I hate to go off on a tangent. You know I can do this sometimes, and I'll try to keep this short and sweet. But last year in 2019 in college football, to me, the best defense in all of the nation was Auburn's defense. They had a bunch of NFL talent. They had guys that were dominant, and they were the team that made LSU work the hardest for what they got. I thought that team in 2018 was Mississippi State. And when you go back and look at that roster, man, was it loaded, stocked, and chocked full of NFL talent. And not just NFL talent, NFL first rounders even. I mean, that team was loaded. It had Simmons on the defensive line that went 19th overall to the Tennessee Titans. They had Jonathan Abram on that defense who went in the first round to the Oakland Raiders in the 20s somewhere. They, of course, Montez Sweat, who we took 25th overall in the first round. And then they had a bunch of other guys that either went later in the draft or, went this year in the draft, like Cameron Dantzler, who was drafted in the second or third round, and Willie Gay Jr., who was drafted in the second round by the Chiefs, which is why I was watching that Alabama game from 2018, and I was watching Sweat, and I was saying, my goodness, this guy's a freak. And so, it just reminded me all over again because at times last year, he kind of got lost in the sauce, and we saw him start to kind of lose that deer in the headlights look towards the end of the season, and him kind of realize, I belong here, all right? I earned this. I belong here. I can play in this league. And I always remember Chris Cooley saying that he had that aha moment in his rookie season when he realized he could play in this league. And I think his actually came in the preseason. But nonetheless, for everyone, it's different. And your aha moment that you can play in this league may not come till year 2 of your career or year 3. It just varies with everyone. But I think Sweat somewhere around week 12 or so had that aha moment. And maybe it was when he got his first sack. And it took a while. We remember we were on Montez Sweat sack watch for like the first 8-9 weeks of the season before he finally got one. But once he got one, they started to come in. And that Dallas game to wrap up the season was a great culminating finish to his season. It was a great culmination of a guy that started to get it towards the end. And I'm hoping it carries over. And I, like you, think that this guy is supremely gifted. Remember how excited we were when we got him last year? Hell, some of us were more excited about getting Montez Sweat than we were Dwayne Haskins in the first round last season. So, and I'm not going to lie to you, I was one of them because I wasn't the biggest Dwayne Haskins fan when he was drafted initially. So I am now, though, and I see the promise. I see Dwayne Haskins, and look, I've never said he wasn't talented. I just thought that there were a lot of issues with him, and I thought there were other guys that were better. Now I feel like this guy's determined. He has a chip on his shoulder, and I think we're going to see that talent that we saw at Ohio State when he threw 50 touchdowns over 8 interceptions. But back to Sweat, watching him on tape just kind of reminded me of why I was so excited about Montez Sweat. This guy's long. He's uber athletic. And I think once he starts to put some of these moves together, and that's what we started to see at the end of the season, he stopped relying on pure athleticism, which is what he did at Mississippi State. And he started to put some technique to that athleticism. And that's when guys start to figure it out. In college, if you're a supremely gifted athlete, you can just use your athleticism or your strength or the combination of the two to beat guys because most of the guys you're going up against aren't NFL players, so you can dominate them. But as you get to the NFL level, everybody's good. And so now, just pure athleticism and raw strength isn't going to get it done snap in, snap out. It'll get it done sometimes, but it's not going to get it done the vast majority of the time like it did in college. And because of that, you got to be able to start using some technique. And I think we started to see that towards the end of the season. He started to come with a little bit of a rush plan. And I'm excited about Montez Sweat. And remember, if you remember what I said, and I may end up walking this back, I waffle between Chase Young or Montez Sweat in terms of the sack leader in 2020. I told you initially I think it's going to be Montez Sweat. So that goes to show you I think he's going to have a breakout year. But, man, if Chase Young is what I think he is, and I think teams early on in the season are going to make him prove it. They're not going to double team him right off the bat. He's not going to come into the league with the respect of, oh, we got to double team Chase Young. They're going to make him put up a 2.5 sack game first before teams say, okay. 99 won't get us. All right, we're going to have to chip. We're going to have to double team. We're going to have to keep the tight end in. We're going to have to back on your way out. Make sure you get a piece of 99. But that's not going to happen right off the bat. And so somebody's got to get blessed before that happens. I'm hoping it's week 1 with the Eagles. Right off the bat, 3-sack game to announce himself to the rest of the league. And then from that point on, he'll probably see double teams and chips and things of that nature and more attention paid to him. But whatever the case may be, I've got Montez Sweat as the Redskins 2020 sack leader right now. If Chase Young comes out of the gate like gangbusters, I'm probably going to walk that back. So I'm telling you right now, look for that to come if Chase Young shows me what I know he's capable of very early in the season. But I do think that Montez Sweat has a chance to be dominant in 2020, which is going to be great for everyone else around him if, in fact, that takes place. Thank you for that super chat, Rob U. Got another super chat here from Barrett Downing. My man BD, thank you for the super chat as always, BD, who writes, what's up, Lou? I can see our DN tandem going off this year. I can too, man. The magic number for a DN tandem is 20. If you can get 10 apiece from each guy on opposite sides, you feel like you're killing the game. Now, we've got a chance, whether it's Chase with 12 and Montez with 8, to get 20 in our sleep. I think we've got guys that can get 20 easily. I'm going to raise the bar for those guys. I want that number up around 24. So that's 12 apiece, or if Chase goes off for 14 and Montez is following up with a 10 spot, I'm all for it, man. I'll take a dime bag from Montez and a 14 piece from Chase. And man, if you got that kind of production from just 2 guys, imagine what the rest of the defense is doing. We know Matt Ioannidis is good for 8 sacks. I think Jonathan Allen is at the point of his career now where he's poised for, a 10.5 sack season. He's getting up there. He's around 7.5, 8.5 every year now. So he's poised to have one of those 10.5 sack seasons or so. And so when you start looking around at the rest of this defense, Kerrigan is a guy that can chip in, and he's going to be a lot fresher this year because remember, this was a guy that was an Iron Man. He rarely came off the field. Now he's going to be probably seeing spot duty. And if that's in fact the case, he should be coming in the game like gangbusters, ready to tear some shit up. So I'm looking at all of these guys and I'm thinking as a collective group, why can't we get to 60 this year? That's the number where you're doing it. 50 is the magic number every team goes into the season looking to accomplish. If you can get to 50 sacks, you had a pretty damn good year as a unit. If you get to 60, you had an elite season getting to the quarterback. And so why can't we get to 60, man? If Taz is putting up a dime, if Chase is putting up a dime, that's 20 right there. You're going to get some linebackers blitzing, they'll get a couple of sacks. Why can't we get to 60? And I think it all starts. If you start talking crazy and you want to throw out some big boy numbers like 60 total sacks as a team, it starts with your defensive ends. Because they're going to be the guys that set the table. They're going to be the guys that are the high watermark. So I'm with you. The DNs definitely could go off this year. And it starts with Montez Sweat and Chase Young up front. And you kind of go from there. And so if those guys can eat, I think everyone else will start tucking their napkins into their shirts and look to have a feast as well. Thank you for the super chat, Barrett Downing.
Louie T. Net.